Namaste, my friend. Welcome to the Bhakti Yoga Conference, Grace in an Age of Distraction, which is the beautiful theme we've set for this speaker series. This is hosted at Harvard Divinity School. My name is Happy Jack. I'm the founder of Happy Jack Yoga and a divinity student here at Harvard. And really the intention of this program is to bring together prominent voices from the field of Bhakti. We have monks, we have scholars, we have yogis, thought leaders, musicians, scientists, people from all walks of life. And really the intention is to bring in different perspectives, different voices, different ideas for us to consider on our spiritual path, and certainly focused here in Bhakti. We have, as of now, over 3,300 registrants for this, and we're receiving so much positive feedback. We appreciate it. Smaller subset of us join here live, but thank you for those as well who are catching the recording. At the end, we always have time for Q&A. So if there's something on your heart that you end up feeling inspired to share with the speaker, make a note, and you get to raise your hand towards the end. At the moment, I'm going to spotlight our speaker while I say a few words and introduce the dear Bhanu Nandini. So this is Bhanu Nandini. She felt an inner calling for self-realization and radically transformed her life at the age of 21, just a couple years ago, I think. In search of essence and true identity, she discovered the path of Bhakti Yoga in 2005 and has since lived, learned, and served in various ashrams. Her practice centers on worship, meditation, mantra chanting, and kirtan. She's deeply drawn to the power of pilgrimage, spending 2 months each year traveling to sacred places such as the Himalayas and Vrindavan, and guiding others in this transformative experience. She also actively supports the organization of spiritual retreats, seminars, and kirtan gatherings worldwide. As a dedicated student of wisdom texts and Bhakti philosophy, she continually seeks deeper spiritual experiences and insights, sharing her journey through presentations and personal conversations to inspire others along the way. In 2009, she co-founded Braj Care, a welfare organization in Vrindavan that provides medical and other support to widows, sadhus, and impoverished children. Such an honor to have you here with us, Bhanu Nandini. And I just must say, you know, we got to meet a couple of years ago. We were in this sage group together, this Bhakti Yoga little sangha, and we got to meet in Zoom like this once a week. You were our leader, and it was just one of those environments where I'm new, and I came with like so many questions, and you always had a beautiful either personal experience to share or a wisdom teaching from the text or something you'd seen from other great devotees, and it was really helpful for me on my spiritual path. And certainly you got close association with His Holiness Sacinandana Swami and helped us arrange for Maharaj to open the conference. So we're very grateful for that, and super grateful that now we get to spend an hour with you to hear your voice. I'm really excited for this. The title of the session is Tirtha, Sacred Crossing Between Time and Transcendence. My friends, if you are ready to get started with Bhanu Nandini, throw your arms in the air and loudly chant Haribol. So grateful to have you here with us, Bhanu Nandini. Maybe just before we open up and get started, would you share with us what brought you to your spiritual path? You mentioned like at the age of 21, and then something big happened in 2005, but like how did you end up in this beautiful path? We get you back off mute. Yeah.
Hello, Haribol Jack, Haribol everyone. Good noon and afternoon and good evening. We are all coming from different parts of the world. This is wonderful. I'm also happy to see friends and some of the known faces. To come back to your question, yeah, I was 21 when I was understanding that I don't really know myself and I don't really know who I truly am in my deepest essence. And because I felt I was lacking that knowledge, I also felt I wouldn't be able to find my purpose in life, my dharma. And so I went to see a therapist, and I told her, like, can you please help me? Because I need to understand who I really am deep down. And she said, well, if you really want to work with me, then we will have to remove everything who you think you are, but you are not, first of all. And I said, okay, let's do that. So it was a very painful 3 months because she somehow rather bombed my false ego, like the false identities or my conceptual identities, which I had about myself, thinking I need a career and I need to become a doctor and, you know, all those type of things. And then I understood, because she helped me to start build up based on my own nature and essence, who I really was in this life, in this incarnation. And then I started to more understand that actually I'm very drawn to spirituality, which is something that my parents never did, and it was so new. But then she inspired me to look more deeper and to really, for me, it meant to leave behind what I knew and go into the unknown completely. So then I started to pray and I started to have those questions. So how should I live? Where should be my contribution if I'm not helping the society at large, you know? And then at one stage, I had a very spiritual vision, very, very beautiful vision. And this vision has proved very much true, because I said, if this vision is true, then things are going to come and appear in my life. So I met those monks and I met those spiritual people all of a sudden. And then one thing after the other came. And I started to live in an ashram. And many things from that vision, which was totally new. I didn't have such impressions from my childhood, my upbringing. They came like out of the blue to me. And it all became, so to say, true. So at the beginning, my parents were obviously a little bit worried what's happening with her. And she was always a good student, always such a good child. But now they're happy. And yeah, here I am. So I am a little above 40. So it's been now 20 years that I've been on this path. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. Well, I would have many more questions because no doubt there's been an incredible journey bringing you here in the past 20 years. But we'll turn it over to you because I know you do have a little presentation planned with regards to tirtha. Some of you will know that Sanskrit word. Many of you won't know that word. But we're here. We're hungry. We're curious. We're enthusiastic. We're eager. And so whatever you have called to share with us, Bhanu Nandini, we would love to enjoy it.
So yeah, I thank you so much. So the title and the presentation is all around tirtha. I don't know, I'm not seeing everyone, but maybe you can, those who have their cameras on, just give a thumbs up or maybe raise your hand if you have been to a holy place before. If you, okay, wonderful. Okay, so everybody has almost. Okay, so then I know from which perspective to enter this presentation. So my very first time when I went on pilgrimage to a tirtha or a holy place was in 2007. I was visiting the Himalayas and also Vrindavan. The Himalayas because I really felt a calling to visit the source of Ganges and also to take a bath there. I didn't know what was waiting for me. I was 25 years old. I was more a spiritual adventurist than a true pilgrim. But that journey was so transformational that ever since 2007, I've been going on pilgrimage every year for at least 2 months out of the year, because I feel that on my spiritual path and in my spiritual practice, it's the holy places and the holy people and also the holy rivers and lakes which give me the most blessings and mercy. And mercy, as we know, is unconditional grace. And so I thought, when Jack invited me, very gratefully I received his invitation to join you. I thought, so let me speak about what is really dearest to my heart, and a practice which is also part of the most essential 5 limbs of Bhakti Yoga. I think you all know that the first limb is sadhu sangha, or associating with like-minded devotees, and also such devotees who are more advanced than us, because we of course learn from them. Then the second is studying the scriptures, in particular the Srimad Bhagavatam. The third refers to chanting the holy names in japa and kirtan. The fourth refers to worshiping the deities, and the fifth is to live and visit the holy places of pilgrimage, or to live. And in particular, our acharyas or teachers, they emphasize living in Mathura or Vrindavan Dham. So there is 64 limbs of bhakti. For instance, one of the limbs is to dance before a deity, another limb is to attend an arati ceremony. But out of these 64 limbs that we can do as a service to the divine, those 5 are really the most essential. And among those 5, they say that sadhu sangha is really the practice which, even if you fail in everything else, because sometimes it's hard to maintain really our tempo and our intensity of practice, but we can always go back to nourishing, inspiring association. And for me, this happens in a holy place, because in a holy place, I'm in an environment which is very, very highly spiritually saturated. There is many saintly people there whom we can meet and associate with. When I go to a holy place, I literally plug off or out from my daily life and what I normally do, and I consciously, go to these places to connect with the divine and to really seek, my my own self-realization. So everything, and my chanting is better, my studying of Shastra is better. So everything for me happens in a holy place, to be honest. So I prepared a small presentation that I'll just quickly then guide us through and come to a few places where I think they're of interest. So I just bear with me, please. Okay, so this was from my trip up to Gomukh, or the Himalayas. I went there first time in 2007, and in 2017 I was guiding a group of friends there. So you see, this is the path which leads from Bodh Gaya, or Bojbasa, not Bodh Gaya, Bojbasa, up to Gomukh. It's the last stretch of 4 kilometers. So we are about some 4,000 meters above sea level. I don't know in feet, but it's really high up. And it's, for me, so beautiful, because there you wake up and all you see is those Himalayan mountains, and you just think of yogis of the past, and you just think of how many prayers have been recited here, how many devotees have gone on pilgrimage to these places, and it just evokes, all those devotional feelings and so on. So you see, this is a beautiful image I've taken of, and now I want to show you. I'm sorry, something doesn't work. Yeah, now you see, now in the little corner, that's my friend. So you see how big these boulders are, where we had to pass through, and to come to the source, which is there where the snow is, approximate in that place. So my very first time when I went there, it was the same sunny day like you see here. And the yogi where I spent the night in his ashram, he was telling a friend from South Africa and myself don't go today because it's going to storm. And we thought, oh, he just wants to keep us another night in his ashram. No, we're going to go. So we just left off because it was so brilliantly sunny. And when we came to Gomok, or the place from where Ganga gushes out, the glacier, we said, okay, let's take a bath. But then already a few snowflakes started to fall. There were some clouds which came. And I thought to myself, I'm now here. Even if I die, I will take this path and I know I will achieve moksha or liberation. Like, I was 25, very adventurous. So as ladies, you have to bathe in a dress. You can't just, bathe. So we went in, and I remember after 3 steps of taking in, because the water is like, it's a glacier. So imagine it's like, I don't know how many degrees, but it's definitely like 3 or 4 degrees maybe. And I just lost consciousness, so to say. I don't remember what happened. And then you have to dip, as you do, when you're taking a sacred bath. And I just remember while I was dipping for maybe, I don't know what number of times it was, I just came back to consciousness. And by that time, I've experienced such a transformation where, everything inside of me, every cell of my body was saturated with such bliss. I can only describe it in these words because these things are really indescribable. And I came out of Mother Ganges, and like my fingers, they were frozen. And it was really, by that time, the wind was so strongly blowing, and it was like these snowflakes. I still remember, it was really such a storm, and I was just so cold, but I was blissed out. And then I needed to, dress back, and it was so hard. And there was another like a hiker passing by. He was calling and saying, "Are you crazy? Come out, like, what are you doing?" But I just remember I was in this space of freedom, and just like, I am spiritual, and, I am bliss, and, nothing to worry about. It's all going to be good. And my friend and I, we just naturally came back to to the ashram. We took some shelter, and then we went back to Gangotri. So when I was there on this pilgrimage, it was my first experience. I have really received the blessings of Mother Ganga, because, as we know, when we go on a sacred pilgrimage, the sacred rivers and the other sacred places, we can see them on 3 levels. So like here, Mother Ganga on 1 level, she's just H2O, she's flowing water, she's a river. On another level, she's carries a divine potency. She can purify us. She can elevate our consciousness. And yet on the highest level, she's a goddess who is riding on a crocodile. Of course, I didn't see that level, but I have really, really come very close to what it feels to be in bliss, I think. I don't know. So tirtha, it's a Sanskrit word which has different meanings. It can mean a crossing point or a ford. So it's a place where we really cross over from the material to spiritual consciousness, where we go from the external to the internal. And this is why a pilgrimage is not just an external journey which we do, but it's always an internal quest. Of course, tirtha refers to holy sites, or in general pilgrimage. So when we go on a holy tirtha or on a pilgrimage, we are really visiting those places that are infused with a lot of divine energy. There are deities who are presiding over certain places. Like here you see Rishikesh. Obviously, there is Lord Shiva, who is very much present, but also Rishikesh Narayan, a deity of Lord Vishnu. And the Pandavas used to be there. Even Lord Ram, we visited the caves where Lord Ram meditated in Rishikesh, and we meditated and chanted in those caves. It's very, very special places. So when we go on a pilgrimage, we always have a goal, or a tirtha, we have a goal to visit those divine personalities who reside there, even up today. And also we visit the sitting places of sadhus who used to sit there and who attained spiritual perfection. Then when we go on a pilgrimage or tirtha, those are places of worship. That's another translation. We are usually seeking divine connection, and we do a lot of rituals, and we offer prayers. We really do all those activities that I think we all wish to do also in our day-to-day life, but we don't have so much time. And here we are also in Rishikesh on the banks of Mother Ganga. And there is this beautiful, beautiful prayer which says, "O Ganga, you are devotee of Lord Vishnu in the form of water. You invested with the potency to deliver all living entities. You're a reservoir of mercy, and for simply by taking a bath in your waters, one is relieved of the threefold miseries. I offer hundreds of obeisances at your feet, O Ganga." So like this, pilgrims come and they sing songs and they pray. And obviously on the Bhakti Yoga path, our understanding of visiting a tirtha is not to go there and to bathe so that we can leave the sinful reactions and be washed of those. But our intention is really to go to these places, to these sacred personalities, and to request them for blessings so that we may continue our spiritual journey with strength and inspiration, and that we can come closer to our Ishtadevas, which is Radha and Krishna or Guru and Nitai. So this is really why we go to a holy place. And then a tirtha, one more translation of the word is a tirtha can be a spiritual guide or a person, saintly person. And there's different verses in glorification, like this one from the Bhagavatam. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. So because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. So here you see also a very saintly Vaishnav devotee who lives in Vrindavan and who is regarded now among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to be one of the most advanced and elevated saints, Shri Vinod Das Bihari Babaji. And yeah, he's a true saint, very compassionate, very lovely, very kind. So because such type of devotees, they are so absorbed in thinking of the Lord, they are considered tirthas or sacred places. And the Shastras also describe, or the scriptures even describe, that when they go to a holy place, they purify the holy place by their presence. They purify the holy place from the different activities which people like spiritual tourists live in those places. Yeah, so a tirtha is obviously an external place which we visit, or a sadhu. But like we said in the beginning, the main purpose of going to any tirtha or going on any pilgrimage is to really undergo an internal journey. And I really like this quote by Sachinandan Swami, where he says, "A pilgrim is in search of a vision of what is most important. They long to return to the spiritual center of life." So when we visit the holy places, we really want to plug into that spiritual dimension within us. The external environment is helping us, but for me, I find it's almost like this beautiful fusion between the environment and the atmosphere, which reciprocates with our aspirations. And then we receive realizations and we see them really on the canvas of our hearts. So it's really always an internal journey. And this is why chanting on a daily basis, when we are at homes in America or in Europe or India, for for instance, our japa practice is also a tirtha, or a place of crossing between the material and spiritual consciousness. If we properly do this and align ourselves, it really becomes a sacred crossing. Yeah, so I really love this image because it really shows this monk who is definitely, even though turning to that very serene atmosphere which surrounds him, is actually turning within. And yeah, we can bring questions with us to such types of journeys. And we can bring prayers with us. We can pray for others. We can do charitable activities. But really the most important aspiration which we have is to learn to see through spiritual eyes. And for this, I'd just like to show you something that I have learned from Keshava Swami. So in the Vedic understanding, we speak of darshan, or darshana is a way of seeing the world. And we understand that the way how we look at the world, how we see the world, it's not actually accurate with how the world really is. But as Erik Erikson says, and many other thinkers, we see the world not as the world is, but as we are. So in spiritual context, and especially in the Bhakti tradition, we are trying to move from the mere physical seeing, where we look through our senses into the world. And we are also looking to go beyond the mental seeing, where we are analyzing the information, making sense of what we are seeing, comparing it, contemplating on it, and then coming up with certain conclusions. No, in the Vedic understanding and in Bhakti Yoga, we're really trying to develop the philosophical eyes. We're trying to really see the reality based on the scriptures, based on the wisdom of the saintly people and devotees, which they have left behind, because they have seen revelations of this wisdom. And then also the last level of seeing is the spiritual seeing. So Tirtha, this is why I chose the title. It's a sacred crossing between time and transcendence. Time relates to our material, worldly reality. It relates really to the way of physical and mental seeing. But transcendence is something that we can only see as human beings when we use really those the eyes of the Shastra, or the wisdom eyes, and when we pray for spiritual realizations. So we really want to develop this seeing which is beyond the physical, beyond the mental seeing. And this especially is something that we do in a holy place. So we really, when we are there, we may have expectations of what we are going to see. And then let's say we travel to a holy place in India, and then we are disturbed by the noise, by the pollution, by the many people, and so on. So if we only remain on that level, and if you don't go beyond and look through the eyes of the Shastra, we might become so disheartened and maybe even disappointed, and then we may even leave the place. But if we look through the wisdom literatures, if you look and have good association, sadhu sangha, through those inspirations, if we read the examples of the saints, and if you're trying to understand what did they find here, and by looking through these wisdom eyes, if we remember that there is this intermediary level of understanding the Dham, where we really dive into the atmosphere, we open ourselves up, to the sacredness, then when we do this, something shifts immediately. And the Dham, or the holy place, or the Tirtha, starts to reciprocate with us. And this is then where spiritual realizations start to happen. So far so good. I thought let's do a little exercise with everyone. I hope you are okay with this. So On this next image, let's practice seeing on these 4 levels. I don't know how we can do this best, Jack. Maybe you can help me, because it would be nice if participants can maybe share what they see.
Yeah.
4 levels. So
Yeah,
how do we do?
you ask the question, I'll be a guinea pig, I'll respond, but then everybody else share in the chat as well.
Okay, because I only see my slideshow. I don't see anybody.
We're here with you. Well,
Okay, good.
yeah, I'll respond, and then but then
Okay, good.
others in the chat also, please.
Okay, so would anybody like to share? What do you see on any of these levels? If you look at this image, it's from a holy place in India.
Well, I mean, on the physical level, we see the animals. We see beautiful birds, cows. Yeah, I see monkeys. It's great. The chat's helping out. What else? We got jungle, trees. So yeah, we in one level the material world is there, sunlight, mist.
Okay, wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful descriptions. Okay, and can we feel the atmosphere? Does it tell us something on how do we perceive it with our mental eyes?
For me, I feel like there's like an awakening. Just the fact the birds are like taking off, like it's like something is happening. There's something is being initiated and awoken and aroused. And then
Beautiful.
I see in the chat, I see calm and peaceful, harmonious, flow, something transcendental. And for
Oh,
me,
wow.
slightly unfixed in my gaze. Birds in action, resting monkeys, running towards the sunlight.
Wow, these are beautiful descriptions. I love them. Okay, so now if I told you as a tourist guide or spiritual Tirtha guide that in this picture we are now looking towards Giriraj or Govardhan mountain.
Mm.
You see the stone slabs in the back, maybe. I don't know if it comes well across, if you can see it properly. So this is one of the holiest mountains and a very, very holy place in Vrindavan, a place where saints for the past 5,000+ have been taking shelter. Many pilgrims circumambulate this mountain, this hill, praying. How would that influence your seeing?
Yeah, and to give an acknowledgement, Divya Kishori a few minutes ago did put in the chat Giriraj. So
Ah,
some devotees did recognize that, but I honestly I didn't catch that right away. I was focused on what was right in front of my eyes, the beautiful animals and the mist and the sun. But now that you mention it, Govardhan
mhm.
Hill. Wow.
Yeah. And isn't it that when we know, all of a sudden we see beyond? I don't know if you can feel it, but I feel it because,
Yeah.
and then the more we know about Govardhan, the more stories we have heard, or pastimes, the more scenes some others have shared with us and their experiences with Govardhan, the more we can see beyond just the apparent.
Mm.
And of course, the spiritual seeing is the revelation, which will then come. But yeah, I just wanted to show you. And here's another one. This is Radhakund and Shyamakund. And so the first lake, which we see before the temple structure, is Radhakund. It is also a very, very holy place in Vrindavan. And behind the temple structure is Shyamakund. And here you see some pilgrims who are offering lamps, their lamps of devotion. So again, the same thing. On the first level, we just see, okay, this is a temple. How does it look? Do I like it? Don't I like it? And so on. We are very human. But in a holy place, we should really try to read about those places, educate ourselves, or go with a Tirtha guide, and then we can see beyond. And then we can engage with the place in a whole different way. And we do all of this, again, external seeing, so that we can come and see internally. We see all of this so that we can do what the Katha Upanishad says, which is the eye observes the world, the mind observes the eye, but who observes the mind? It's the intellect. It still goes deeper. Who observes the intellect? It's the Atma, or the self. So, you know, seeing through Shastra, seeing through wisdom helps us to see more deeper within, especially in these holy places, because they carry a Vastu Shakti, or an inherent energy, just like fire, the Vastu Shakti energy, and Vastu means place. So, or inherent potency of fire is that it gives warmth, that it burns. Of water, it's that it's liquid and it quenches our thirst. So if we're in a desert, we will feel in one specific way. And if we go to hike a mountain, like Mount Everest, we will feel a certain atmosphere. If you're bathing in an ocean, yet another one. So every holy place has a certain atmosphere and energy. And this energy really helps us to go deeper within. So we are not going to a holy place or a tirtha to remain on that external level of seeing. Yeah, and then I wanted to share with you this. So for going to a holy place, there's 4 elements which happen. And I think it's good if you, even if you like to take notes, or you can screenshot this. So basically, before leaving, before going, how do we decide? There is something which happens to us. We receive a sacred calling. So going and following on that inner calling, that's really a very good way to go to a holy place. If you go out of curiosity, that's also, of course, most welcome. But when we feel that calling in our heart, it will really help us to go with that mindset of, I'm going for transformation. And even if we maybe don't feel the calling, but somebody suggests to us, hey, why don't you come to India with me? Why don't you come to Vrindavan? Or why don't you come to Himalayas? Let's check it out. No, it would be good to read something, to connect with these places, so that this sacred calling, which comes from the soul, can be a little bit generated, because it will really help us to go with a certain mindset and not remain on that just visitor platform, but really, really go deep. Because the holy places, the tirthas, will reciprocate with our level of consciousness, with our intentions. And here I've chosen this quote for you from Satchidananda Swami. He says, there comes a time for each of us when everything seems superfluous except the longing of our soul to find its own true path. So we're really, really, really trying to connect with that longing in our heart. And we can build up that longing before we leave on a pilgrimage or visiting a tirtha. Then the second element, which comes whenever we go to a tirtha, is crossing the threshold. So we are again put before a choice. Will we travel just to some exotic place, or will we cross this threshold, this ford between the material and the spiritual consciousness? And for this, again, reading, informing ourselves, praying that this takes place is very, very essential. So pilgrimage is really an inner journey, which takes us to the soul and God, or soul and divine, or it's a way of awakening. So it's always good to keep this in mind. It's a path of transformation, and we return anew, really. Then when we are in the holy place or in the tirtha, it's good to be present to the spiritual dimension. Because naturally, you know, we are human beings, we need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to exchange with friends, or write some emails. So we go well prepared, but then there's always a tendency, especially when we are hungry and thirsty and we have to do long walks, that we fall back on our human level, to our human consciousness. So whenever this happens, and also before this happens, while we are there, it's always good to do three things, or to keep this in mind. One is to seek that connection with our own soul. Like, this is really the purpose why I'm coming here. And this helps us wherever we are, to remain focused. What is the purpose? Why am I here? What am I looking for? And the deepest, and the most essential thing is to become conscious of ourselves. The second is to connect with the divine. So again, when you can do it also in a way that, for instance, you want to enter a temple in a holy place. And this was the goal of your pilgrimage, to visit that certain deity. So now you're standing before the gates to the temple. So what is good to do? It's good to just in that moment briefly remind yourself that, wait a minute, I'm a soul, I'm eternal, I'm entering now a temple, and I want to enter it from that perspective of the soul. For instance, that would be becoming conscious of the self, like practicing it on spot. So you really do something like an intention setting. You leave your material, human consciousness as much as possible behind, and you enter with that spiritual consciousness. Then the second step is, I'm coming to this place so that I can connect with the divine. So then it's good to have a prayer book with you, or some sort of prayers that you bring, or maybe you bring a gift. And then you go to the altar, and you are coming again with this consciousness that actually I'm a soul, I'm eternal. And then you come before the Lord, and either you pray the prayers from the prayer book for his pleasure. It's always, as we know in Bhakti, through the service attitude that the connection and reciprocation happens. You can do some little service, sweep the temple. You can light a lamp and offer, different things which we can do in order to connect with the divine. And obviously offer personal prayers. We can sing kirtan, and we can dance before the deity. We can offer flowers. There's so many different things that we can do. And to remain present to the spiritual dimension, it's really good to, as much as possible throughout the day, observe and live from this position of the soul. Because see, this is something which ideally we should do this. We should be, like we say, Krishna conscious 24/7. But we have to work, we have to maintain our bodies, we have to do so many things, and it's good to try this at home as well. But at least while we're in a holy place, as much as possible, we can bring back our consciousness to this understanding that I'm the soul. I'm here to meet the Lord, to connect with the divine. And then we observe from this position of the soul, because if I live from that position, I will meet other pilgrims in a different way. I will respond to situations with more tolerance, with more humility. It really helps. So this is how we can remain present to that spiritual dimension while we are in a holy place. And then the fourth is spiritual gifts. Obviously, when we go to any holy place, we are receiving many synchronicities, answers to our questions. Unexpected things happen. And it's really good to note them down, because while we are in these moments, we think I'm going to remember this forever. But I myself have lost so many of them, because like in German, we say, wir werden reichlich beschenkt. So this means we really get so many gifts. It's almost overwhelming how many insights we receive. And so what do we do with those insights? Those signs from the divine? It's good to become aware of them and then build our life upon them. Because only when we do implement those insights, do we really bring more spiritual light into our lives, and the transformation takes place. So these four elements of going to a sacred pilgrimage is something that I really, really, really have experienced myself, and I would highly recommend that you do. So I thought we could do meditation also, but I don't know how we are with the time. Jack, you tell me, and we can just have questions and answers. Everything's possible.
Yeah, well, we should save some time for Q&A, but if you want it, can you give us like a short meditative experience for just a couple minutes?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's try.
If it
I
pulls, we'll unshare the screen so we can see you again, and
yeah.
that would be that'd be nice. I think I know I've got some questions, and and I've had some sent in to me, so we want to save a little bit of time for that. But if you
Okay.
yeah, actually just it's now we see your desktop if you completely
Okay.
unshare.
So maybe what we do for the meditation, then let's
Ah,
look at these images
yeah.
for just like half a minute. Those are images from the sacred Yamuna River. And we can just, again, try to see on all four levels, or try at least to feel the atmosphere. It's a very holy place. And then we will do the meditation. It will just go nicely. So you see, you're looking at the Yamuna from a small little temple. That's why the temple bell is there. And it's a river where they say in the Shastras say, even when we look at the Yamuna, we will not have to see Yamaraj or the god of death anymore. And the Yamuna, there are many boatmen who can carry us across or drive us actually across, so we can take a sacred bath. And it's a very, very magical atmosphere. When you're at the Yamuna, even the winds which touch us, they liberate us from heaps and heaps and heaps of coverings. And here you also see some ladies just took a bath, and this is the sandy banks. It's a holy river where about 5,000 years ago, when Krishna was playing his manifest pastimes, he was taking his bath in the Yamuna. And this is part of an evening arati. Devotees light those lamps and they let them float down the Yamuna. Okay. So let's close our eyes now. Sit properly, and you can place your hands palms up, either on your knees or your thighs. And roll back your shoulder. Just relax the shoulder. Just take a few deep breaths in and out through your nose. And with our mind, let's try to go to the sandy banks of the Yamuna River. You see the sun is slowly setting. You hear some temple bells in the distance, announcing the evening aratis. You smell the incense which were offered by some pilgrims. They're put into the sand next to us. And we can feel the soft sand beneath us. Now please fold your palms in your mind's eye. And I will recite a prayer to the Yamuna. And you can just listen and tune in. O river Yamuna, you're the spiritual water that gives pure love for the son of Maharaj Nanda, or Krishna. You're the daughter of the sun god, and you can purify us from all the reactions from our past lives. You're the same as you are in the spiritual world. O river Yamuna, kindly purify us and bless us. And now you can slowly approach and take a few palmfuls of water, and you can respectfully pour it back to the Yamuna Devi. And then you can slowly, slowly go in. You can enter her waters knee deep. And then hip deep. And then you have reached your navel. You can dip 3 or 4 times. Just immerse yourself. And then when you're done, while you're still standing, you can offer a personal prayer. Then you can come back to the sandy banks. And you can offer gratitude for the experience. And then focus on your breath again. Take 3 deep inhales and exhales through your nose. And then slowly open your eyes. And come back to our Zoom room.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, let's send so much love to Bhanu Nandini for that heartfelt meditation and experience. Thank you for sharing that with us. We just have a few moments left. I got, as always, like I did in our group a few years ago, I got lots of questions, but I'll see if I can just keep it simple, and if we may have time for one from the audience as well. But one question actually that got sent in to me. We're bringing a group to India, to the Govardhan Eco Village in November, which is of course a recreation of the Vrindavan forest and Giriraj Govardhan Hill and the Yamuna River. And so a student was asking, and it ties to your 4 steps system about first being the sacred calling, but can you say more about, like, how can we prepare now for when we do come to India, whether it's with us in November, or hopefully they come and join you one time on pilgrimage as well? How can we prepare? And then also the other question, how do we integrate when we get back? Because I know sometimes we go on this beautiful, transcendental, spiritually enlightening, incredible experience, and then we come back to our home, our family, our partner, our coworkers, and it's a little different. So in a few, I know you could say a lot on this, but could you just say a little bit about the preparation before and the integration after?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. Well, I would say if you can take out some time in your day or in your week maybe you say, okay, I'll spend, I don't know how many weeks from now you're going, but you need to have some time where you, maybe 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, you really sit down and you connect with, I'm going to go to GEV, Gordon Eco Village. Why am I going there? Like, what's my purpose? It's a holy place. It's a recreation. It's it has the same value as going to a holy place. So why am I going there? And read something about it, I would say. Talk to friends who visited already. You know what, and then I make a plan of what spiritual activities you can do. You know, especially bring questions with you. Like, this is how you prepare. And how to integrate when we come back, same thing. We really, really, really have to like give it some time and remember the places, remember where we were. And then, like we did now, I mean, this Yamuna meditation was so quick and brief, but I think it was nevertheless powerful, especially for those who know. Like, you try to hear the sounds, you try to see the scenes, you know, just 5 minutes, and try to go into that experience and connect with a prayer. And in this way, you know, we keep it longer in our consciousness and our conscious awareness, the experience, and we can build up on that.
Beautiful. That's super helpful. And then maybe one more question. We got a moment for you personally. Have you had, you know, you've been on this path for 20 or more years. You have the great Sadhu Sangha association of a Swami, a Maharaj, so you have great association. I'd be curious to hear like your greatest transformation, your personal transformation, spiritual transformation through Tirtha.
There's things which we cannot share with the world. I'm so sorry. Because, but I can definitely say that I've received such gifts where I know they come only from unconditional mercy. And I can say only that much. It has transformed me. I know how your question goes, but there's been so much.
And I guess
Okay.
really like giving us a sense, right? So, and not that we expect to spend 20 years with a Swami, but just a sense of what's possible, you know, of, you know, someone, a Westerner, a seeker who went to India, put themselves in this environment. And you know, your teachings are so beautiful and so powerful. And I just want to help connect this teaching in the framework to even more so you as a person.
I can say one thing. There was this one experience which I had in Vrindavan, and Krishna wanted me to learn that I'm not the body. And he has put me in a situation which was so difficult. He gave me actually the experience of dengue fever. And I had to go to a hospital, and I was 2 days before getting a blood transfusion. And I didn't want to do that because I was in India and I was not trusting, and it was really, really difficult. And the doctors asked me, can you pray? Because we don't know what to do, you know? And then I asked actually Sachinandan Swami, you know, he was phoning me, and I was like, what should I do, Maharaj? Like, I don't know why would Krishna give me such an experience in a holy place. I came to worship him and he gives me such an experience. And then Maharaj said, when you cannot see Krishna and feel his presence, you will see him through his devotees. And from that moment on, devotees started to come and appear and visit me. And one of them, he got some Ayurvedic medicine with him. And he told me, drink this. And I said, I have to ask my doctors. So I asked the doctors. The doctor said, don't drink this. If you drink this, we have lost you. Because I really was really, really in a bad condition. And I just remember that Maharaj said, devotees will come, don't worry. And I was like, I have to build up on this. And then I took this medicine because I believed so strongly that I'm gonna get healthy. And this really saved my life. And then later, when I had my questions, why and why and why this experience, I understood that I was so attached, or I am still attached also now to this body, and that this body doesn't belong to me. You know, it's Krishna's elements, and he really lifted my consciousness out, and he gave me a vision which, so this transformed me a lot, really. Like from then onwards, I understand that I'm not a controller, and I can trust and I can depend on his arrangements, no matter how illogical they sound. And of course, I'm not perfected there. I still have so many fears, but yeah, I don't know if that's good of an experience. It's a little intense, I know.
It's beautiful. It's powerful. You know, a couple of thoughts. One, what a perspective that you had, right? In a time when most people, because of the material challenges, it'd be so easy to freak out, be full of fear, panic, worry, and that you could have such faith. And of course, it came from that association of Maharaj and the devotees. So one, I love seeing that. That's a powerful reminder. And two, you know, for those of you who have not been to India yet, it's not a common thing to get dengue fever. Certainly, if you're going to, you know, Govardhan Eco Village where it's purified water and everything. But you put yourself for 20 plus years, like going right into it, into the trend, like immersing yourself fully. So I just want to point out, it's not a common thing. But what a
No.
powerful perspective that you had.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I got it in Delhi, by the way. So
Okay.
and I went to Vrindavan. So
You
yeah.
got healed in Vrindavan. Well, Bhanu Nandini, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. It's such a joy. If calling in from India, it's like bedtime for you, no doubt. But thank you for taking the time to be here with us and share your love and insights. Actually, someone from our team said, you know, before we go to India in November, we're going to have the group watch this again because it was a really nice framework of the, you know, from the sacred calling and crossing the threshold and those 4 steps so that we can really prepare ourselves for this adventure ahead. And for those who want to stay in touch with Bhanu Nandini, we'll put a link to her Instagram underneath. We were talking before, she's like so committed to devotional service, so she's not going to be like super accessible. She doesn't have like a website and emails and stuff, but follow her on Instagram and you'll be able to follow the journey of someone who's living it very, very authentically for many years.
Thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for this. And I thank everyone for being here. And I hope you could get some little glimpses and experiences of the holy place.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you, friends, for being here, taking the time. Wishing you an amazing rest of the day, and we will see you soon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hari
Hare
Hari Bol.
Krishna. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur-